So today we're going to work at our comparison operators and the if statement. Okay, so I've just created a file called as comparison and ifs, and in this file I'm going to tell you about how do we use the comparison operators and how do we use the if statements. Okay, so let's first talk about our comparison operators. All right, so the comparison operators works like this. Okay, so our comparison operators, they just help us to compare two or more than two values, right? So I'm going to say this. So we have like kind of 4 to 5 comparison operators. I'm going to explain you all of these. All right, so the first one is called as the greater than. Okay, the greater than sign. So we call it the greater than. So most of us knows it. I'm going to say greater than, and then this one is called as the less than sign, the less than operator, and then we have an equals to equals to. Yeah, this one is kind of unique and very important. So we call it the equals to operator. And contrary to assignment operator, this one is just used to compare if two values are equal. Okay, so we're going to call it the equal to operator. The next one we have is called as the not equals to, and just to represent not equals to, we have the exclamation sign and then this. This one is called as not equals to. Just like that. And then we also have 2 more different operators called as this. We have less than and then equals to. Okay, this one is called as less than or equals to. Okay, then we have another one called as greater than and then equals to. So people kind of make mistakes in writing this less than or greater than. So you need to remember it, right? Like this, these signs like less than or greater than, they always comes before I equals to. Okay, so this equals to can never be coming before these signs. Okay, so these signs always be first and then comes the equal to sign. Okay, yep. So all of these are called as the comparison operators, and they're very helpful in using our if statements. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead by first introducing you with the if statements, and then I'll be giving some examples which will incorporate our knowledge of comparison operators and if statements on the same example. All right, let me first tell you what if statements are. So if statements are kind of they help us in putting a check on a value, right? So if the value turns out to be like making one condition true, so then we'll be running certain conditions, and if one condition becomes false, then we may not be running certain conditions, certain statements in Python. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So first of all, let's tell you the syntax of if statements. It looks like this. We're going to say if, and then we need to give our condition here. Remember, if always accompanies with a condition. Then we always need a colon, and then pressing enter, and then now we can give statements as much as you want. There you go. So this will be kind of having statements like as much as you want, right? So, and then if you are done with your if statement, you can just give the else part, right? So if this condition is true, if a particular condition is true, run these statements. And else, if that condition is not true, you could be giving an else part, and then else part will also have its own certain statements. There we go. So this is how it works with our if statement. This is the syntax of the if statement. All right, and now I'm going to introduce you one more thing that is called as the else if. Okay, so for example, if one condition is not true, there might be another condition. There might be a chance of another condition being true. Okay, so for that purpose, you may need to give the else if part. Call it, yeah, else if part. So in other languages, we can use the else if part, but in Python, we have a shortcut keyword called as the Elif. There we go. So we have the Elif, and again, contrary to the else part, this Elif part does accompanies another condition. It always comes with a condition, okay? It's quite similar with the else, with the if statement. So else if we have a condition, if this condition is true, go ahead and run some statements. All right. So this is the basic syntax of the if statement. Now let's just comment the whole thing out, and then let's go ahead and do some examples of our if statement. All right. So for example, we can say, how about we take a scenario in which we are thinking about a student. Okay, so if he have graduated, okay, so if he is graduated, we can say he is eligible for job, right? And if he's not graduated, we will saying you cannot apply to job yet. Okay, I'm just gonna take a very simple example. I'm gonna say is and then underscore, because I'm gonna use a Boolean variable here. I'm gonna say is and then graduated. So if this is true, right? If, for example, that student is graduated, so we're gonna say is graduated equals to true, and then I'm gonna say if is then graduated. So if this is graduated thing is true, we can just say print, and then we can say you are eligible to apply for the job. There you go. All right. And in the else part, we can just say print, and then you can say here you are not eligible to apply for the job. All right. So this is a very simple example of how can we use the if statements. Okay. So if I just go ahead and try to run this program. Yeah. So I might need to run this file here. So I'm gonna be right clicking here, and then let's try to run this program. Okay. There you go. It says you are eligible to apply for this job, right? Because this is graduated was true. If I just change that to a false, so as we all know, this would be resulting in a false. Yeah, so we're gonna say you are not eligible to apply for this job, right? This is a very simple example of how can we use our if statements, okay? So how about we try to introduce another condition?
All right. If elif else.
Yes. How
Okay.
about we try to introduce another condition called as the else if. So if you have another condition in your mind, you can use that as well, okay? So for that purpose, you may need to say else if, and then we can just say okay, so with another condition, I'm thinking about, how about we say is graduated, and then we can say has yeah, so we can say has primary degree, right? So if you have primary degree, so then he may be eligible for a college, okay? So you can say his primary degree equals to true. How about that? Okay, so now we're gonna look at it. So we're gonna say else if, and then we can say else if has primary degree, right? Then we can say print, and there we go. Here we can say you are only eligible to apply for bachelor's. There you go. Okay, you understand it now?
Mm-hmm.
This is how we can use more than one conditions. And if you have another condition in your mind, you can use this else if part. There we go. Let's start run this program now. There we go. It now says you are only eligible to apply for the bachelor's. Okay, because the primary degree was true now. If we just change both of these to a false,